The projects page is where a user will see all of the projects that they have created, or that they have been invited to. A project is usually a cohesive way of containing and logging all emission-related data in one establishment, such as the company. A project name is normally the company's name, but if the company is large enough, this could be the name of the department or a subsidiary company. Either way, each project will span 1 year from its starting date and have two statuses: in progress or complete. A project can be edited if its status is in progress and cannot be edited if its status is complete. To create a project, you can click the New Project link in the sidebar. Once loaded, you can type in a name for the project, a description, and the starting date. For example, if I wanted to create an emissions report for the company Acme for 2020, I would give the project a name of Acme and a description of Acme Corp emission data for 2020, and then give it a start date of April. A project lasts for 1 year from its start date. It should also be noted that a project does not have to line up with the financial year, although it may be easier to manage if they do. Once you are satisfied with the inputs provided, you can click Create. This will create the project and redirect you to the Getting Started page. For now, scroll down the page and click Exit Project. This will return you to the list of projects that you have. You should see the new project that you've just created here, including the access level that you have, the project status, the ownership status, and the starting date. In the second column, you'll either see the letter C or the letter I. This dictates the level of ownership you have to a project. Either you are the project creator, denoted by the letter C, or you have been invited to the project, denoted by the letter I. There are 3 levels of access for a project: admin, edit, and user. Admins have full access to the project. They can invite and revoke access to others and can update any element of the project. They are also the only access tier that have permissions to update the status or delete the project. Edit level users have access to change any of the data on the project, but do not have the rights to invite other users, change the overall status of the project, or delete the project. Finally, basic users only have access to the overview and reports page, whereby they can view the information on the page without being able to update, add, or remove anything. Clicking on the green arrow will open the project and allow you to view the data inside of it. By default, it will open the overview page. This is where you will see all your data visualized in charts. Scrolling down, the Invite User tab is where you can invite colleagues and collaborators to contribute and view your project. Clicking on Invite User, you will see the project name and fields to input the name, email address, and select the access level for the user you would like to invite. Clicking Invite User will notify the individual with an email. If the user does not have an account, they will be prompted to create one, and the project will automatically be added to their account once they have activated it. In the Manage User tab, you will see a table of all of the current users that have access to the project. You can view their first and last name, email address, company, and current access level. To edit the access level of one of the invitees, you can click on the pen icon in the first column. This will open a dialog that you can use to change the access level of another user. Clicking Confirm will change this instantly. Additionally, you can also send the user a reset password link from this page. If the user has not finished setting up their account, they will receive the activation email once again. Sites can be used in several different ways. A site could be used as a division between physical locations, for example a head office and a manufacturing warehouse. Alternatively, it could be 2 buildings in one location, for example London Building 1 and London Building 2. This could be taken even further, with sites as used as individual rooms in a single building. The use case for sites depends entirely on how you want to compartmentalize the company. There is also no mandatory requirement for a site to be added. If you want to generalize the emissions across the entire company, the option None Site Related can be selected, but specifying and assigning emissions to a site allows for a high resolution when analysing where the emissions come from. When on the sites page, you will see a table that will contain all of the sites that you have added. There will be a site identifier, a site name, as well as a start and end date. The site identifier and the site name should be unique values, such as a site number or code, or generalized, such as the location, building name, or purpose of the building. The start and end date signify the start and end date of the site being used by the reporting company. For example, let's imagine that Acme Corp's head office was in Manchester, but halfway through the reporting year, the head office moved to London. They would then create a new site for the new location and set the start date as the move-in date. They would also change the end date of the previous site to the same date, This way, when generating reports that span across all sites, the emissions will not be duplicated. Instead, the Manchester office would be used for half of the report and the London office for the remaining months in the reporting year. By clicking on the pencil icon in the first column, the site name, start date and end date can all be updated. The only exception to this is the site identifier. Furthermore, should you wish to delete the site, the red button at the end of the row will allow you to do this if you have the correct permissions. Not all companies will need to use this feature, but for those that do, groups are a way of subcategorizing where the reporting company's activities are used when reporting on emissions produced. Groups could signify different products that the company makes. For example, if Acme Corp produced shampoo and toothbrushes, they could have a group for each product. Alternatively, groups could be different departments or arms of the company, for example, manufacturing, marketing, and distribution. When on the Groups tab, you will see a table that will contain all of the groups that have been added to the current project. There will also be a group code and a group description. The code can be thought of as a unique identifier, like that of sites, and the description could be an easy-to-read version of that, such as the product name or department that is being recorded against. For example, a product's line number or stock keeping unit number could be used as the code, and the product name used for the description. Clicking on the pencil icon in the first column will allow you to edit the description of the group. However, the group code is not editable. Furthermore, should you wish to delete the group, the red button at the end of the row will allow you to do this. An activity is an action that the reporting company takes that has the potential to produce emissions, either through consumption or generation. Events such as purchasing electricity from an energy provider, running machinery, or manufacturing products are all categorized as activities. Activities can include emission-related data from Scope 1, such as company vehicles, Scope 2, such as purchased electricity or heating, and Scope 3, such as purchased goods and services. While Scope 3 is optional to report, Scope 1 and 2 are mandatory requirements of the Streamlined Energy and Carbon Report. Carbon Counter makes it simple to add and manage emission-related data to all scopes, including categorizing emissions that may not fall under Scopes 1 through 3. These are referred to as out of scope or Scope 4, and contain emission data that could be, for instance, related to biofuels. Each entry for reporting an activity is categorized in accordance with the government's tables regarding emissions. There are multiple ways to report an activity. For instance, if a company has multiple sites, they can report per site as well as against all sites or against no sites at all. As well as sites, activities can be reported against with all groups, an individual group, or not related to a group at all. To add an activity entry, a user will need edit or admin permissions for a project. By clicking Add Activity, the user will be presented with the options to create an activity. Once a scope has been selected, the options will allow for user interaction. The options for Scope 1, 2 and 4 are identical. Picking a scope will allow for the Select button to be pressed, providing you with conversion codes from the list of government emissions to choose from. Once a conversion code has been selected, the import code, description and unit of measurement fields will automatically fill out. Scope 3 follows similar protocols to other scopes, the difference being that the user has the option to select a category from the options such as purchased goods and services, upstream transportation and employee commuting and investments. This category selection includes all 15 types of categorization for Scope 3. Furthermore, each category will have a reporting methodology, for instance spend-related, hybrid-related or supplier-specific to mention a few. Some reporting methodologies will allow the user to select a government conversion. Others will require that the information is manually filled in. This can be achieved by pressing the Manual Input button. This will open a window that allows the user to give the activity a user-defined description and unit of measurement. After all the fields have been filled out, the user will be able to click the Add button at the bottom, which will add the activity to the table on the Activities page. Each row on that table will have 12 months spanning from the start date of the project. Inside each month, the user can add the consumption figure. Adding this data will start to populate both the Streamlined Energy and Carbon Report and the Overview page, whereby the data is visualized. In addition to this, a user can click the menu button on the right-hand side and select Add by Year, allowing the user to type in the total consumption figure for the year. That number is then evenly distributed across all months. If a user wishes to add multiple instances of the same conversion code, but only change the site or group information, this can easily be done by clicking on the menu button and selecting Duplicate Row. This will create another instance of the row that has been selected, allowing the user to change the site, group, comment, and monthly data for the added row. An intensity record is a metric that can be used to monitor the emission footprint of products. Intensity measures use emissions assigned to and calculated by activities to offer additional insights on activity records. For example, creating an intensity record for employees across all sites and all groups, then adding data for the total number of employees per month, would allow the reporting company to view the carbon footprint of their employees individually. This could also be manipulated to show the carbon footprint of each employee at a given site, or that worked on a particular group. There are multiple ways to report an intensity value: reporting on everything, not considering sites, across all sites, across individual or specifically targeted sites, or not across the site at all. Intensity records can also be recorded against groups, in the same manner as sites, although if this is the case, then it should also be reported as an activity. Managing intensity metrics follows the same rules as managing an activity. To edit, update, add, or remove records, the user will need admin or edit access to the project. The related site, group, and monthly values can be all edited from the main table. In the same way as an activity, yearly values can also be added from the menu on each row on the right-hand side. Your subscription level can be viewed by clicking on the My Profile tab in the sidebar. From here, you will see the basic information related to your account, and on the right-hand side, you will see the current subscription tier that you have associated to your account. Scrolling down, you'll see a Manage Subscription button. Pressing this will allow you to view the other subscription tiers available. Underneath the name and pricing of the tier, you will see some of the basic information about your subscription, namely how many projects you can manage and the total number of activities, intensities, sites, and groups that you can create across all projects. Whilst in your 30-day free trial period, you do not need to worry about selecting one of these. However, you may find that you need to access more sites, groups, activities, and intensities. If this is the case, then you can click on Choose Plan inside the subscription tier that meets your requirements. Once clicked, your subscription will be updated. You will receive an invoice to renew your subscription around the time of renewal. This will be delivered to the email that you use to log into your account. At any time, you can change the subscription to suit your needs. If you no longer require the services of Carbon Counter, you can ask us to cancel your subscription by using the Cancel Subscription button at the bottom of the page. We'll do our best to get back to you quickly with a solution that meets your requirements.